Only 2 more days to go till the 10th of the 10th. Good evening and welcome to TV Burp. Love Island beauty spends £62,000 on brand new Audi Q8 months after being injured in horror crash.
As I say, she was in a crash, but that car was brand new from Steptoe's yard.
Married at First Sight star threatens to quit after sex confession on Thursday's show. And Richard Osman's House of Games viewers all have the same complaint about celebrity contestant.
Boo! Turn her into bacon!
Isn't it nice to know that Little Mix are going to do a reunion show in 50 years' time? Of course that wasn't Little Mix! This was Rip Off Britain on BBC One, hosted by Angela Rippon, Gloria Honeyford, and Julia Somerville. And in this programme, they all go on a mission to stop fraudsters, scammers, and con artists with their greedy eyes on our cash! In this episode, we met Helen Mead from Essex. She had been left picking up the pieces after her brother Brian's Facebook profile was hijacked in March 2022. I know. Absolutely horrible, isn't it? Picking up all those little bits of jigsaw puzzle to complete the picture of Brian's Facebook profile. Pieces all over the floor. A nightmare picking up all those pieces. Oh, another 997 to go. It's a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. Brian passed away on the 8th of May earlier this year, aged only 55. After he was diagnosed with cancer of the mouth. Brian's Facebook profile was all about heavy metal, so it was full of pictures of all the heaviest things he found with his metal detector. I'm talking about the music, of course. The hacker, who was pretending to be Brian, was sending messages to Brian's friends asking for supportive cards. And this continued after Brian had died. But it's okay though, because one of Brian's friends weren't fooled. They did send the hacker a card, but it was one of those joke cards. So it said on the front, "I'm sorry you're feeling sick. Get well soon, you..." Hello? No, of course I wasn't going to say that. This is a family show, for goodness sake. I was going to say, "I'm sorry you're feeling sick. Get well soon, you man of fiddlestick." Later on in the programme, solicitor Aisha Nair from Virtual Advice Clinic gave us tips on how to avoid the pitfalls of buying from overseas. 1. Assume nothing. 2. Watch out for the trinity of charges: customs duty, VAT, and courier fees. 3. Check online before buying. And 4. Don't accept the parcel if you think the fees are unfair or you weren't warned. Thanks to those 4 tips, you won't get a nasty surprise when you see a parcel waiting on your doorstep. that reminds me. I ordered a parcel from overseas. It's a tiramisu ice cream cake that I've been waiting for, all the way from Italy. Ooh, that'll be it now. Excuse me. Pudding is served. Oh, God. Oh. I did get a nasty surprise after all. That wasn't the tiramisu ice cream cake that I've been waiting for. It was an unexploded World War II bomb. The postie must have got mine and the neighbour's parcels mixed up. You see, the neighbour has an unexploded World War II bomb collection. And what I received just now was the latest addition to his collection. He's going to be disappointed now. Only Connect now on BBC Two. And in this episode, it was the Jogadors versus the Harlequins. The Jogadors team captain was Lee Caldwell. Poor Lee was feeling ill recently, but he's feeling much better now. That's why he attended the recording of this episode. So you could say, Lee called in well. He was a cognitive financial expert who has played bridge for Scotland. The team name was inspired by a soft spot for Spain. That must be hard to find, because, well, all the spots in Spain are hot. The Harlequins team captain was John Robinson, an English teacher who was a child model for the cover of a nature book. The team name was inspired by their passion for the performing arts. That, not so difficult to find. Hey, do you want to work out the connections for the picture clues? That's great, because so do I. Here's the first set of clues.
Let's see, what have we got here? A fish, Amber Heard, some colours, and a saw. I'm guessing the answer is Amber Heard saw a colourful fish. Let's have a look at the answer.
Past tenses for senses. Of course. Never mind. Here's the second set of clues.
Okay, the first guy looks like he's a rocket scientist. Then we've got Brad Pitt. And a guy who looks like he's just bought a car. And finally, the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. So my answer is, the guy who's just bought the car has bought it from the rocket scientist. The car was originally owned by Brad Pitt, and when the guy bought the car, he said, "Thank you very much." Let's have a look at the answer.
Things failing to impress Shawna Twain. Oh well, I gave it a go. But I hope you did well. During round 3, when one of the connections was mares, Bridget from the Jogadors gave advice on how to be a good mayor. For any politician, It's got to be somebody who listens, someone who knows how to carry out what they say they're going to carry out. And they've got to be able to be decisive and have different leadership skills. That's very good advice. Although I do have something to add to that. Sing a certain song. I'm the mayor of this town. La 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 la. Everybody, I'm the mayor of this town. Dumpty dumpty dum dum dum. At the end of the episode, the Harlequins won with 23 points. So well done to the Harlequins. The Jogadors finished with 15 points. Oh, just 8 behind. I mean, if they were behind with 10 points, that's bad. Paxman, putting up with Parkinson's now on ITV. A documentary about Jeremy Paxman learning about Parkinson's disease. Because unfortunately, that's what he's got now. He was diagnosed with it in May 2021. Jeremy said at the beginning of the programme he has written a lot of books. Well, his office proves that very fact. You ain't kidding, Jeremy. He also said he enjoys writing, but he can't type now, which must be incredibly annoying. He thought he'd written something, but it turned out to be gibberish. You see, he thought he'd write something simple, like his own name, Jeremy Paxman. But this is what he actually typed. No, that's not how you spell Jeremy Paxman at all. We learnt the story of how Jeremy discovered he got Parkinson's. You see, he was having a walk in the square across the way. There was ice around, and he had his dog Derek with him. And the first thing he knew was when somebody was sitting him on a bench. Jeremy had fallen over and made a terrible mess of his face. He'd gone straight down on his nose. So it was something like... There were cuts all over the place. He was a real mess. Ouch! And when he was in A&E, a doctor walked in and said, "I think you've got Parkinson's." Now, I don't think that's his real voice. It could be, but I don't know. Anyway, it turned out that he had been watching University Challenge and had noticed that his face had acquired what's known as the Parkinson mask. That's actually a new film in the Mask franchise. Only in this film, Stanley Ipkiss gets Parkinson's. And so when he puts on the mask, he's not as active as he used to be. Poor Jeremy got depressed about the Parkinson's, but nowadays he takes lots of medication, which helps a lot, including mood enhancers. Now, I don't need mood enhancers myself, but I'm going to drink some just to see what will happen. You see, I'm a happy person already, but I just wanted to see if I'll be even happier when I've drunk mood enhancers. Oh. Something's coming. Oh, hey! Whoa! Whoa! Way! Oh! 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 Brr. Oh! Maybe I shouldn't have drunk those mood enhancers. I'm exhausted. We discovered that Parkinson's was originally named after a doctor in what is now part of the East End of London. James Parkinson was his name, and he wrote an essay on the shaking palsy, and it was actually a Frenchman. Charcot, known as the father of neurosurgery, who said we should call this La Maladie de Parkinson. But remember this, James Parkinson wasn't the only famous Parkinson. Oh no. There was the actor, Robin Parkinson. There's the chat show host, Michael Parkinson. And there's the actress, Catherine Parkinson. But that does beg the question, which is better? James Parkinson, Robin Parkinson, Michael Parkinson, or Catherine Parkinson? Does anyone way to find out? Fight!
Don't blame it on the whiskey. Don't blame it on the bar.
See you after the
Don't
break.
blame it on the gin. Trying to call the Johnny Walker party game.
Welcome back to TV Burp. Britain's best woodworker viewers have a big problem with judges. Grand Design star left livid by unacceptable damage to mother's £1.3 million home. And giant corn on the cob on Karen Pirrie. "24-hour baby hospital now on More 4. And in this episode we were introduced to Kathy, who was 24 weeks pregnant. This was the fourth child for her and her partner Darren. They met and got together as childhood sweethearts. Kathy was 14 at the time and Darren was 15. Kathy knew when she first saw him that she loved him. As childish as she was, she just fell head over heels for him. But Darren was having none of it. That's not very romantic, is it? Until they kissed. Much better, Darren. Well done. After that, Kathy got pregnant very young. She was 16 when she first got pregnant. They knew that something wasn't right when the doctors were focusing on certain parts of the baby girl they were going to have. So they called in a professor, who found out that the baby had a CDH. Ooh, that's right. The baby girl they were going to have had a compact disc habit. That means she'll be so obsessed with CDs that she'll be too busy to focus on her own life. No, of course it wasn't a problem with CDs. No, it was much more serious than that. It was a hole in her diaphragm, so her diaphragm wasn't formed properly. So then for her stomach, spleen, liver, lungs, everything was pushed up into her chest. And then her heart was moved over to the right side, where it should have been more in the middle. Wait a minute. Her heart was pushed to the right side, where it should have been in the middle. That's hardly the right side. It's the wrong side. Why did they say the right side if it was the wrong side? I mean, what? I don't understand. It was clearly the wrong side. Heart should have been in the middle, and it was on the wrong side, or as they call it, the right side. Anyway, this poor baby girl's lung didn't get a chance to grow properly. The baby wasn't well at the minute, but don't you worry, because she will make it and be a warrior, like Darren and Kathy's other 3 children. Ooh. If Darren and Kathy's children are warriors, just be careful, will you? If your children are warrior, don't mess with them. In fact, don't mess with anyone who's a warrior. That's a very important lesson to learn. But here's some good news, though. When the baby was brought into the world for the very first time, they named her Sadie Rose. And she is now 5 weeks old. And they all lived happily ever after, as I like to say. Home and away now on 5 Star. And there was quite a few things happening in Summer Bay in this episode. For example, Alf was on the beach, although I thought it was a little bit disrespectful of him to wee in the sea.
It was very windy on the beach, and Alf had been holding it in for a long time.
Of course Alf wasn't weeing in the sea. No, he was actually fishing. And at the same time, Bree was having a morning surf. Don't worry though. Alf didn't catch Bree on the end of his line. Otherwise that could have been an awkward situation. Imagine this scenario. Oh, I've caught something. Oh, and I've caught a big one. Come on, you beauty.
Ooh, thank you.
Wait. Oh, hello. What are you doing on the end of my fishing line?
You caught my swimsuit, that's why. But still, I think that's very kind of you to call me a beauty. Are you all right, mister?
Yes. I honestly didn't mean to catch you, Mrs. or Miss or whatever. Just get this my fishing line unattached to you. Oh, sorry. There's a bit of a hole in that.
Oh, it's okay. It's only a little one. Have a good day, mister.
It's Alf, by the way. And you are?
Bree, pleased to meet you unexpectedly.
Yeah, pleased to meet you too, unexpectedly. I think I'll go home now. Meanwhile, I thought Cash was being very insulting to all card game lovers. And what I mean is, when he was staying with his sister Felicity, after coming out of hospital, but still not feeling 100%, Felicity asked him if he wanted to play a game of cards with her. She even offered to let him beat her. Cash said Felicity hadn't beaten him at a game of cards since ever. Felicity reminded Cash that she won the family Uno Christmas tournament 2 years running. And here comes the insulting part. Cash said that Uno isn't a real card game. How could he be so wrong? Of course Uno's a real card game. It involves real cards. What will he say next? Snakes and Ladders isn't a real board game. Cash doesn't understand the world of games. Although I should be more respectful because, as I said, Cash wasn't feeling 100%. So maybe, when he's feeling much better, he will apologise and say that Uno is an actual card game. Which it is, let me remind you. Secrets of the London Underground now, on yesterday. I'm talking about the name of the TV channel. This episode was all about the Piccadilly Circus station. Sidney Holloway told Tim Dunn that the original station, which opened in 1906 and designed by Leslie Green, had 3 different entries. One in Jermyn Street, one in Haymarket, and one in the place of Granio Piccadilly. No, fascinating, isn't it? It had oxblood red tiles, semicircular windows, and a flat roof, which is the perfect place for sunbathing if the beach is too full. It had 8 lifts in total, 4 to take you down to the Piccadilly line, and 4 to take you down to the Bakerloo line. By 1922, though, it was completely at capacity. 18 million people were using it every year, and the lifts simply couldn't cope. And when I say that, one day, you see, there were lots of people in both lifts. And because there was so much weight in the lifts, they simply couldn't cope. And they went flying down towards the ground. So the people inside the lifts were saying, "Ah!" And then when they got to the bottom, crash! And oh! Why didn't we take the stairs? So the station had to be completely remodelled right underneath the circus itself. So, if the members of staff and the passengers hear music and elephants up above, they know that the show is happening. And it will be very useful for the circus audience. I mean, if they've got to catch a tube 5 minutes after the show, they don't have to go very far. They just have to go underneath the big top itself. Later, Tim and Siddy ventured deep into the tunnels, which were originally the corridors of the 1906 station. Oh, I'm so desperate to look at these tunnels again. Let's all have a reminder of those tunnels.
We gotta take a night train to the default city to rock out this fucking ancient walls. We gotta take a night train to the default city to make us dreamers to down in reverse. We gotta take oh, dirty night train, yeah. We gotta take oh, dirty night train.
Hang on! Simpson and Sons? I didn't know Grandpa Simpson was part of this piece of history.
Before Tim and Siddy left the station, they had a look at one more thing as part of its history. The inner workings of the linear world clock.
Here's the clock back then. Here's the clock today. although nothing much has changed about it. And here's the inside, although I don't know why Siddy is holding that metal pipe.
Now, Tim said that he loved clocks. It's a bit of an odd thing to put in your list of things that you love, don't you think? I mean, well, don't get me wrong, I think clocks are very useful things. But, I wouldn't put them on my list of things that I love. I'd put them on my list of things which I find useful. Along with my watch here. Oh, actually, talking of clocks and watches, you know what time it is now? It's sausage o'clock! I really do need to sort out that clock. Well, that's all we've got time for. And to sing us out, Vashti Bunyan with the train song!
Traveling north to find you. Train was beating the wind in my eyes. Don't even know what I'll say when I find you. Call out your name, love, don't be surprised. It's so many months and so long since I've met you. Don't even know what I'll find when I get to you. But suddenly now I know where I belong. It's many hundred miles and it won't be long. It won't be long. It won't be long.
That's all from us. Good night!